Hello, my friends, and welcome to another episode of the Vibe with Kai podcast, where we dive deep into the world of mental health with humor, honesty, and a whole lot of heart. Today, I'm thrilled to have back my good friend, Dr. Alexis Moreno, the visionary founder of Wit and Reason, who has been a guest of mine for a very long time, but we haven't talked in a while. So I'm excited to have Alexis back. Alexis brings over 15 years of combined expertise in media and psychology, specializing in the topic that we're going to be talking about today, mental health first aid. Also specializes in healthy relationships and creating psychologically supportive environments for everybody. And through her work, she's on a mission to make mental health more relatable and more accessible for everyone. Today, we're going to explore the transformative power of mental health first aid and how it equips us to support ourselves and others, and why this knowledge is crucial for breaking down the barriers surrounding mental health conversations. How was that intro? Was that
What
good?
a
Was that a good
mouthful.
intro? I know. I know.
I
I always have to
appreciate it.
I want to set everything up for success and let everybody know that I'm talking to an expert.
You let them know what's up.
Exactly. What's going on? It's been a while since we've talked. How have you been?
Oh my gosh. I know it's been a while, but I feel like
Yeah.
we talk every day because I see your TikToks. I see your posts. I'm vibing with you. I even
Yes.
did like a stitch with you. I don't know if you noticed on one of your dating idea posts.
No, I didn't see. Can you send it to me after this?
I will. It was
Yes,
the one
please.
where you're like, okay, I'm not going out on first dates. We're going on
Yeah,
errands. Like we're gonna go do errand
yes.
runs. And I was like, yes, all about
I
that.
think I. Yeah, please send it to me because if I didn't like it or comment on it, that means I probably didn't see it. So
I
definitely
figured I got
definitely send it
married.
to me. Oh my God, yeah, because there's so many like stitches and duets and stuff, and I'm like, I always want to find like my friends when they do stuff like that because I'm like, I want to make sure I comment and let them know I see it. So yeah, definitely send it to me for sure,
I'm gonna send it to you.
for
You
sure.
you post
Yes,
so many fun things.
I try. I try. I mean, it's fun. It's fun to do, and it's actually opened up a lot of really cool opportunities like this, like being able to talk with people that actually know what they're talking about when it comes to mental health.
That is ideal.
uh,
Yeah.
yes, it's very ideal because, like I said, I tell people all the time, I'm not a mental health expert. I don't pretend to be one. I just talk about my mental health journey, and I get to talk with people like you that are doing incredible things, like the mental health first aid. So, for those of you that don't know, May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and that
And
is
my birthday
huge.
month.
It is it's same here. Wait, when's your
Really?
birthday?
25.
Yeah,
What's yours?
26.
Shut up.
Yes, my birthday is May 26th. Yeah, proud
We're a
Gemini. I'm
day
a proud
apart.
Gemini.
We're probably even just
We
like
are.
hours apart. I was like 11 a.m.
I
Really
was
20,
6 a.m.
so close.
Wait, are we the same? Are we the same age? Or I'm old. Are we the same age? I don't know.
How
I'm
do you define
36. I'll be
old?
37.
Shut up.
Wait, are you
I'm,
36?
I'm turning 40.
Oh, no. No,
The
you're
big
not.
four. The big 40.
What are we doing for your birthday? That's a big birthday. A big 40.
I know. I've been traveling, following the sun this winter, and so I'm in the Miami
Yeah.
area now, and I'm going to be traveling further south for my 40th birthday into the Keys.
Amazing. That's so cool. I'm slightly jealous, just slightly.
What are you
That's
doing?
amazing.
What are you
For
doing for
my
your birthday?
birthday, what I normally do, which is nothing. No,
What?
I usually I know I don't usually I've never had a birthday party, fun fact. I've never had a
Because
birthday party
you
because
don't
my
want,
birth
or
No, I think to be honest, when I was younger, it's because like our birthdays always fall around like the Memorial Day, like
yes,
ish, and all my friends were always out of town. So for birthday parties, so you know the struggle. So I just never had one, and now I'm at a point like I don't like I'll have like a get together, I'll have like a dinner, but like I've never had like a birthday party per se.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah. I had them growing up, and then there was always
yeah,
that stress of like, what if no one
yeah.
showed
I know. I don't want that pressure. I don't want that
up?
pressure.
Can
No,
I
not
tell
at
you
all.
the
Yeah.
loophole I found though is I have a birthday twin, one of my sorority sisters, Pam, and we
Uh
both
huh.
lived in the same dorms, joined the same sorority at the same
Hmm.
time, and then since meeting have celebrated our birthdays together every year since. So
I need to
there
find
wasn't that
myself a
pressure for,
birthday twin.
yes, because then it decreases the pressure of like it's all on me to like bring in the party. It's like a dual.
I'm gonna go
collaborate.
find me. If anybody's listening to this podcast right now and they're like, "Wait, my birthday is also May 26th, and you want to be my birthday twin," hit me up. We're gonna be birthday twins, and we're gonna celebrate our birthday
Mutant
together. So,
triplets,
so
quadruplets.
May. Listen, May is a good month. I think May is a great month. It's obviously my favorite month for obvious reasons, but it became an even better month for me because, like, I didn't even know mental health was as like such a serious thing.
Yeah.
And it is a very serious thing, and we get to celebrate and highlight mental health during the month of May. And you are doing something really, really cool here,
Yes.
something that I never really thought of, and I'm glad you're doing it. So it's called Mental Health First Aid, and what I love about the idea of this is the fact that, and I say this quite often, whenever we think about mental health, I sometimes wish that we thought about it the same way that we think about physical health, because I feel
That
like
yes.
we don't, and I feel like we'd have a better understanding and it would be better accepted if we talked about mental health the same way that we talk about physical health. So the fact that you have called this mental health first aid, I just has that natural like connection to
Right?
physical health, and I'm like, yes, I love this. I love
And
this. So
I
no, please
can't
go
take
ahead. Mhm.
I can't take full credit for the name because
Yeah,
it's an actually like researched, studied, and evidence-based
yeah,
program that
yeah.
started in Australia and then came to the US in like the early 2000s. And so they
Wow.
share that same passion and concept. It's like, why aren't we just treating this and practicing
Yeah.
it like we would physical concerns like CPR? Why don't we have like a
Right.
CPR
Right.
for mental health? And so
Right. Right.
here we are.
So for those for the people that are listening to this, being like, okay, what the heck is mental health first aid? It sounds cool, but I need somebody to explain this to me.
I
Talk about
got you.
mental health first aid. What is it, and why is it such an important thing when it comes to just a person's mental health?
Yeah. So just like CPR, it's a
Mhm.
training certification program that anyone can participate in. So you don't have to be like a psych major, you don't have to like have any kind of social service experience, just a passion and willingness to learn more. And
Mm,
you actually not only gain mental health education and understanding what are the variety of mental health conditions or concerns, including substance abuse, and we even dive into like suicidal like thoughts and how
yeah,
to what to how to effectively and safely um, support someone who is going through that. And so you could be anybody. This training helps you go through that process of not only learning, but also they have like a very specific plan that shows you like step by step what you would do based on the circumstances. So it could either be a
hmm,
crisis or even like non-crisis stuff where you just notice that
right,
like a friend or family member is, down or acting, different. And
yeah,
then what I love about it is that they wrap it up with like, okay, now let's talk about your self-care as a first aider as well, because this could be really stressful or challenging for people
yeah.
to practice as well as first aiders. So they also make sure that we're taken care of on the first aider side of things as well.
Right. Do you find that people are sometimes hesitant to help others because it like when you think mental health, you're thinking, okay, well, I'm not a mental health professional, like I don't know how
Yeah.
to deal with all this. Do you feel like people are just sometimes reluctant to step in and help because they just simply, not only the stigma surrounding it, but they just simply don't understand how and why the brain does what it does sometimes?
Yeah.
Do you think that's the reason why people shy away from it?
Yeah, people, I mean, they even just tell me directly, like, I feel really overwhelmed or
Mm,
helpless, or, I'm not sure, which it all comes from a really beautiful place, which is I'm just not sure what to say or the right thing to say. I don't want to make things worse. And so we go through the whole process. And it's all research based. It's like, hey, asking someone if they're having thoughts of suicide does not increase the risk of suicide. Like, we could talk
mm.
about this in a very
I think
safe way.
that's really interesting that you say that, because I
Yeah.
feel like that people do think that. People do understandably believe that. And so mental health first aid helps to combat stuff
Yeah.
like that, right? Hmm.
So
That's amazing.
it'll clear up any kind of myth or stigma, and then even tell you exactly like, okay, here are things to look out for. Some people even get confused about like, okay, is this person just having an off day or is it like
Hmm.
something, more severe? And it clears all that up for people and then gives them that action plan. It actually tells you exactly what to say and then allows you to have, the freedom to personalize it in your own voice so you don't have to sound like robotic or nerdy. You could say it the way, Kai would say it, right? You could
Oh, you don't
bring
want
your own
that.
personality
You
into it.
don't want that. I'm a nerd. You don't want that. I'm such a nerd. You don't
That
you don't
works for
want that.
people. There's a whole nerd
Aim
culture that we're
higher.
all about.
Aim higher. Aim way higher.
But you reach so many people just being you, so even though we we teach these certain ways of doing things, it's all about you being you as well at the end of the day and
Right,
being that
right.
person who's supportive and can connect them to the resources they need. So throughout the whole program is like you're not a trained therapist and we're not training you to become a therapist because that takes like years of education and training. This you're
What?
simply yeah, I know. You're
Not
simply
a,
functioning as
not
someone
according to
in your
TikTok.
I know. Don't even get me started
Everybody's an
on
expert.
people therapy.
Everybody's an expert. Wait, so
Imagine if we had
what
more
drew listen, oh my gosh, listen, I want more mental health professionals, but I'm gonna put a underline the word professional there. I need more mental health professionals there.
yeah.
But that's another topic for another day. Don't even get me started.
Even if we
So
dude, even if we got like
drew
all the
you?
influencers trained.
Yeah. Oh, no, really. No, honestly, I think that that should be a thing. I feel like
Yeah.
if you're going to be talking about anything along those lines, whether it's mental or even physical sometimes, I feel like there should be sometimes a vetting process and or you
Yeah.
have to add some sort of disclaimer. That's why I always say to people, I am not a mental health expert and I don't pretend to be. I
Yeah.
don't want anybody to come to me asking for like professional advice because I am not going to give it to you. I just want to share my story and hopefully point you in the right direction
Yeah.
of heading in a towards a place of having a healthy mindset in your life, and if I can do that, then like that makes me happy.
Exactly. And
That's my goal.
that's exactly the role of a first aider. You know,
Hmm.
they're not the
Hmm.
experts, but we just have a bunch of people scattered throughout our communities who
Yeah.
have, you know, a supportive, empathetic understanding of how to navigate these types of things and how to connect people to the right resources.
Right.
So you're ready
Drew
almost there.
what drew you to this? Like why because I can sense the passion even before we even started talking about it, like through emails and messages. Like there's such a beautiful passion that you have behind this. What drew you to this? Why does this mean so much to you?
I've always been on the side of prevention.
Hmm.
And when I started studying psychology and getting more and more into research and just saw all of those dusty books in the library and I was like, why aren't we talking about this more? Why aren't we
Yeah.
teaching and training other people about this more? Like why is this so like gate kept? Like
Yes.
this
Yes.
is life-saving stuff here. Like literally, this is life-saving training and skills. And I don't
Hmm.
understand why it's not required. Like even just they
Yeah.
have it for teens too. Like why aren't we teaching this stuff in high schools
Yes.
for peer-to-peer support?
Hmm.
And so just the idea that like you anyone can be a person of support. And some of the things that I experience offline is that I end up being that person in my various communities. I get
Mm.
that I've gotten random late night calls, random late night texts, DMs from people that are close to me in my life and even other strangers that are just out seeking help for others. They're like, hey, I have this concern about this person, or hey, this person had this type of abuse going on. Like, what do I do?
Mhm.
And I feel honored to be the psychologist in these groups and communities. And I just wish that that they had already had that information or even had more people around them that they could turn to for support and guidance. And so
Right. I,
that's part of the mission here with Mental Health First Aid, is to get as many people trained as possible
yeah.
to be prepared and empowered to support others.
I'm glad you brought up the, prevention, like the prevention side of things. And because I feel like that early intervention, that early support that a person can get can help out so much in the long run. Can you talk about the benefits of early detection, early support,
Yeah,
early intervention? Like, can you talk about the benefits of all that?
absolutely. I mean, like, the earliest, the best. So much so that even if we just have a culture or a society or community that um, that is more empathetic and supportive
Hmm.
and understanding, that alone can reduce um, rates of severity, rates of suicide, rates of
Yeah.
self medicating or turning to drugs and alcohol to try to like ease whatever ailments people are experiencing. Like even if we just had a more compassionate society that supported humanity versus dehumanized people who were experiencing challenges that are completely out of their control, that alone we know like as a community, we can help prevent things from getting worse and prevent people from feeling more isolated and alone and hopeless and helpless. And so at there's so many different points along this process where we can intervene, and not just as
Right.
trained professionals, but as just humans.
Right. One of the things that mental health first aid outlines is an action plan called
Yeah.
Algae. Am I saying it right? It's
Yeah.
called
Yeah.
Algae. Can you walk us through those steps and how it helps in both a crisis and a non-crisis situation?
Yeah. And so when you're going through the training, you're going to be able to dive into this a lot more because we want to make sure that people not only have like an intellectual understanding of like what the steps are, but more practical as well.
Sure.
And one of the key points to this plan is that it's not like a step one, step two, step three. It's not very cookie cutter because the our experiences as humans and with mental health isn't cookie
Hmm.
cutter. So instead you want to think of it more like almost like a circle or pie chart of like different options that you can choose from depending on where a person's at. And so in some cases, you may just want to like observe and assess, like how someone's doing and explore a little bit more. If it's a little bit kind of like a gray area, like is this person just having, an annoying day, or is this like a long-standing like mood change? Um, and then so it goes from like assessing all the way through to like, okay, this is more crisis scenario. We need to bring in trained professionals to help support this person, and
Right.
just like you would for CPR, contacting um, the EMT or paramedics to come and provide that life saving support. Similar situation, you would bring in like a trained clinician or psychologist or
Right.
therapist, social worker,
Right.
and
Right.
I'm really loving finally that we're having more like mental health crisis responders
Mm.
around in our country, so that way we don't have to rely on police officers to try to do clinical work. And so
Hmm.
we provide our learners, our first aiders, a list of resources to specific to their area, and who to respond to depending on what the circumstances are.
I love that. I love that. And I'm glad that in the beginning you equated it to teaching somebody CPR, right?
Yeah.
Because sometimes the need and to save a life, you know, something needs to happen right then and there in order to save somebody's life while the medics are on their way. Like you might need to
Mhm.
do something to help save their life, or learning the Heimlich, like things like
Yeah.
that. Like it's all the same. So I'm glad that you equated it to something physical, because I think that'll help people understand what exactly we're going for here with mental health first aid. And your background is very like heavily on the like the relationship and dating side of things, and I think that this is really crucial for like couples too. Like, I feel like this
Absolutely.
could be that really come in handy for that. Can you talk about the benefits of mental health first aid for couples?
Hell yeah. When you're saying my specialty, I have a few. I was like, which way are we
You have a
going
lot.
here?
I know, right?
Because we even do this for like media production and on set,
Yeah.
in the film and television industry. But my other passions, my heart, um, dating. Oh my gosh, I'm such a hopeless romantic.
Me too. That's why. Me too.
And
That's
it's
why it's me and my cats.
right. And the fact that, like you're down with cats, I mean, like cats
Oh
are very
yeah.
particular and they have strong boundaries. They're
Hmm.
not like passive and submissive like dogs. And so I
Right.
I hold cat people up to a higher regard.
They're my boys. In fact, one's trying to say hi. It's
If you
okay.
could join,
I'll talk to
if
you.
you
We'll cuddle. We'll cuddle
if
later.
you
I
if
promise.
you could get the love of a cat, then you're a good person.
Yes.
But I mean, like even for couples, um, and this is either for couples who have a mental health diagnosis, who know and who are active in their treatment. It could be for that type of couple, and it could even be for couples who, you know, to their knowledge, don't have any mental health
Right.
concerns. And then somewhere down the line, trauma hits. Loss hits, grief hits, there's a crisis, so this is going to be useful, especially in those types of relationships, because then you both can learn, like, what are the most effective ways for me to just support myself or my partner, my loved one, while we're going through a crisis.
Right.
What's the right
Right.
language? How,
Right.
what do I say? What do I do? And I even get a lot of those questions as well. So that's something that can definitely be beneficial in relationships um and in homes as well.
Yeah. Yeah. I know there's going to be people listening right now that are like, okay, I love this idea. I love everything that she's talking about right now. If I were to sign up right now for this, what does this entail? Like what like can you walk through
Good
like what this
question.
training process is like so people get a like a feel for what they're getting themselves into, what they do hit that join when they
Yes.
hit that join now kind of button.
Register.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, so as we talked about, not only is this very helpful, but it can be very serious. And so the
Hmm.
training needs to be able to reflect the severity of the different circumstances that a first aider may be faced with. So it's a two-part process. You register with us and we get some information as far as like the contact information, and then like what are your best days for doing like a virtual live training together.
Hmm.
Because the first part is a 2-hour self-guided online program that you take through mental health first aid. Um, and then that should take about like 2 hours. And then the second part is a live training that we do together. And I would need a group of at least like 8 to a max of like 15 in order to maintain the fidelity of the program. We don't want it too small where we can't do activities together. We don't want it too big where,
Hmm.
it's like too overwhelming and I can't tend to everybody's needs. So we have
Right.
that nice sweet spot there. And so what we do during that live training portion, we could either do it in 2 sessions or in one. If we do one full sitting, it would be about like 6 to 7 hours, including breaks. So we want to make sure everyone
Mm.
can, you know, breathe through it,
Sure.
and eat, so
What?
that can be done virtually,
You had me at
or in
food. You
person,
said food. I'm in. Sign me up. You had me
right?
at food.
We
I'm
got to
ready to
make
eat.
time
Let's
for
do
food.
it. Exactly.
We can't do a mental health training without like breaking for mental health and nutrition breaks and bathroom
You
breaks.
can't do anything without
Period.
taking a break for some food.
Yes.
I'm a food junkie. I'm a food junkie. So like, just give me all of the food for any
Oh
reason,
my
and
gosh,
I'll
I
be
feel
there.
you.
That's really
And
cool
then,
that so
yeah,
much work is being put into like this is a very serious thing that
it is.
requires like the like that kind of attention and detail. That's really neat.
Yeah. And so participants will have to complete that first self-guided training before they so they're like at least book, knowledge-based book updated on
Yeah.
mental health. And then in the live, then we do kind of like more experiential, more practice, more skill-based aspect of what it means to be a first aider. And then after that,
Right.
you finish that, you get you're certified, and I register you through the mental health first aid um, program, and then you have your certification for 3 years. And
Okay,
then
yeah, I was gonna ask, like, because once you're certified, is it like good for life, or is it like one of those things that you have to like renew every time? So it's
yeah,
3 years.
you'll want to renew. Even as a doctor, I mean, after you
Mhm.
get your degrees, you're not done. You're always doing continuing education
Yeah.
because ideally, science and research and practices are always evolving.
Right.
And so same concept for our first aiders. Not only do we want to like double check to make sure you remember everything that you learned from
Hmm.
the program
Right.
3 years ago, but we also want to keep you up to date with anything new.
Right, right. One of the things that you had mentioned earlier is how you also have a version of this for like production environments
Yeah.
and film and TV and production satellite and all of that. How does that come into play? Like, why that specific niche of I guess entertainment
Yeah.
and also uh, what how does this come into play? How does the mental health first aid come into play with all of that?
Have you seen any of those documentaries or heard any of the news about what's been going on in film and television behind the scenes and on set?
Oh, yes. Yes, 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 yes. Yes. It's
So
heartbreaking.
yeah,
It's oh my gosh. Yes. Hmm. Yeah.
and so that's like I'd say the extreme, but still not uncommon side
Yeah.
of the entertainment industry. There can not all productions, but some productions, even if you just have one person
Mm.
who's toxic or abusive, sets sets a tone and causes so much damage to the entire
Yeah.
team.
Especially a
Um,
person in power.
yes, and so that's on one extreme side of things, like Quiet on Set
Yeah.
was starting to disclose a lot of things that were happening in Nickelodeon,
Yeah. Yeah.
especially if you have children on set. Um, that's like one end. Even at the like, even at the other end of things, production is highly competitive and highly pressured. You're
Mm.
working long hours. If you could think of when you're back in school doing a group project, how 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 challenging that could be with all the different personalities.
Yes. Oh, I'm
Um,
triggered right now. I'm triggered.
right? You do that in a highly competitive, high stakes, you know, a lot of money on the line kind of an
Yeah.
environment, and it could bring out the worst in people, or all of the challenges and conflicts that come up. So, regardless of what kind of set or production you're on, it's going to be helpful to have a mental health coordinator on set and people, not just one, but again, scattered throughout your entire team and at different
Yeah.
level, who are mental health first aid trained. And so I've actually partnered with an organization called Symptoma. They are a SAG-AFTRA accredited uh, intimacy coordinator certification program.
Amazing. Yeah.
Yes. And so they train people to become intimacy coordinators, which are the professionals on set that are making sure that
Hmm.
everyone's appropriately consenting and feels safe while
Right.
they're doing any kind of intimacy scenes
Yeah.
in front of the entire team of people that are
Yeah.
behind the camera. Um, so I partnered up with them, and we curated this mental health first aid training to meet the unique needs of film and television production and
Hmm.
being on set. And so
Yeah.
it's not like any other workplace where you
Yeah.
might like
It's
sit at a
really
cubicle and you know?
Yeah, it's a very because I come from the world of theater, right? And
Got
so
it.
I grew up doing theater. I still do. I still direct. I still perform, and just from a theatrical standpoint, it is just a different beast. You are sharing intimate spaces with people, and even that aside, just the sometimes the subject matter of the production itself can be very triggering, can be very difficult. I just directed a production of Ghost, the musical, as in like Ghost, as in like Patrick Swayze and Demi Moore and Whoopi Goldberg. So it's a musical based off of the movie, and yeah, it was a lot of fun, and I gotta tell you, it was also very tough because of the subject matter. You are dealing with death, and like it's taken in a very like romantic, lighthearted way, but still like when you break it down, it's still like a very difficult thing. And I remember having conversations with the leads of the show, just like checking in to make sure that they were okay, because having to relive these constant emotions every single night, every single performance, it could be mentally exhausting. Film and TV is the same type of stuff because these people are behaving truthfully under imaginary circumstances, and it can be a very difficult time for many reasons. So having something like this available and having people trained, I feel can help in every way imaginable. I don't see how it couldn't help. I don't see why this would be a bad idea for anybody. Legit, thank you so much for hanging out with me. Everybody that's watching, listening, click the links inside of the bio. Go follow Wit and Reason on all of your favorite social media platforms. They're going to be there. And yeah, thank you for hanging out with me. As always, my friends, much love, good vibes, and I will talk to all of you later. Goodbye.